Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that many of you have asked about, something that touches the core of faith and community. How can we, as ordinary people, tell the difference between a true spiritual shepherd and someone who's just a hired hand? It's a question that's been debated for centuries, and it's as relevant today as it ever was. Whether you're deeply involved in a church or just starting to explore your faith, understanding this distinction is crucial for your spiritual journey. So, let's break it down together. First, let's get our terms straight. When we talk about a shepherd, we're using a powerful metaphor that goes way back. Think about a literal shepherd with their flock of sheep. They know each sheep. They protect them from danger. They lead them to green pastures and fresh water, and they go searching for the one that gets lost. A true spiritual shepherd, or priest, embodies this same spirit. They have a deep, personal investment in the well-being of their community. On the other hand, a hired hand is someone who is paid to do a job. They might perform the duties of a leader, but their heart isn't truly in it. When the job gets tough, or when a better opportunity comes along, they're gone. The flock is just a task, not a family. So, how do we spot the difference? The first and most telling sign is genuine care and personal connection. A true shepherd knows their people. They don't just know your name from a membership list. They know your story. They know your struggles, your joys, and your family. They're present in your life, not just on Sunday mornings. They visit the sick, they comfort those who are grieving, and they celebrate with those who are rejoicing. This isn't about being nosy. It's about authentic relationship. A hired hand, in contrast, often maintains a professional distance. They might be a great speaker and an efficient administrator, but the personal connection is missing. Interactions can feel transactional, like you're just another item on their to-do list. They might be busy with programs and meetings, but they don't have time for the simple, messy reality of people's lives. Next, let's talk about sacrifice. A shepherd's life is one of sacrifice. They put the needs of the flock before their own. This doesn't mean they neglect their own health or family, but it does mean they're willing to go the extra mile, to be inconvenienced, to give of their time and energy without expecting anything in return. Their motivation is love for God and for the people He has entrusted to them. They're not in it for the salary, the status, or the comfortable lifestyle. In fact, you'll often see them living simply, pouring resources back into the community. A hired hand, however, is often motivated by personal gain. Their decisions might be influenced by what benefits them most: a bigger salary, more prestige, an easier workload. They're less likely to make personal sacrifices for the good of the flock. When conflict or difficulty arises, their first thought might be self-preservation, rather than protecting the community. Another key difference lies in how they handle truth and correction. A true shepherd loves their flock enough to speak the truth, even when it's hard to hear. They will gently and lovingly guide people away from harmful paths, not to condemn them, but to protect them. This correction always comes from a place of love, with the goal of restoration and growth. It's like a shepherd using their staff to nudge a sheep back onto the safe path, not to beat it. A hired hand, on the other hand, often avoids conflict. They might shy away from difficult topics or uncomfortable truths because they don't want to upset anyone, especially influential members who might affect their job security. They might preach what people want to hear rather than what they need to hear. Their goal is to keep the peace and maintain their position, not necessarily to foster genuine spiritual health and maturity in the congregation. Think about what happens in a crisis. This is often the ultimate test. When a wolf attacks the flock, a real shepherd stands their ground. They fight to protect the sheep, even at great personal risk. In a spiritual context, a wolf could be many things: a destructive ideology, a major community conflict, a widespread tragedy, or a scandal. A true shepherd runs toward the problem, not away from it. They lead with courage, wisdom, and grace, holding the community together and pointing them toward hope and healing. A hired hand, when they see the wolf coming, is the first one to run. They're not willing to risk their reputation, their career, or their comfort for the sake of the flock. They disappear when things get tough, leaving the community scattered, confused, and vulnerable. Their lack of investment becomes painfully obvious when the pressure is on. Let's also consider the focus of their teaching. A true shepherd consistently points people to God, not to themselves. Their preaching and teaching are all about glorifying God and helping people build a deeper, personal relationship with Him. They equip the congregation to read the scriptures for themselves, to pray, and to grow in their own faith. They empower others, raising up new leaders and encouraging everyone to use their gifts. The goal is to make the community less dependent on the shepherd and more dependent on God. A hired hand might, subtly or overtly, make everything about themselves. They might build a following that is loyal to them personally rather than to God. They might enjoy the spotlight and the admiration of the crowd. Their success is measured by their personal popularity, the size of the attendance, or the budget, rather than the spiritual depth and health of the people. Now, it's important to be fair. Nobody is perfect. Even the most dedicated shepherd will have moments of weakness. They'll get tired, they'll make mistakes, and they won't be able to be everything to everyone. So, we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for the posture of the heart. Is their heart oriented towards service, sacrifice, and love for the flock? Or is it oriented towards self-interest and personal gain? The pattern of their life and ministry over time will reveal the answer. This isn't about being overly critical or suspicious of our leaders. In fact, we are called to love, support, and pray for them. Their job is incredibly difficult, but it is also our responsibility to be discerning. We need to be like the Bereans in the Bible, who examined the scriptures to see if what they were being taught was true. So, what can we do practically? First, pray for wisdom and discernment. Ask God to help you see your leaders clearly and to give you a heart of grace. Second, observe. Don't just listen to the sermons. Watch how they live. How do they treat the least of these in the community? How do they handle criticism? How do they spend their time and energy? Actions truly do speak louder than words. Third, get involved. Don't just be a passive consumer of religious services. Join a small group, volunteer for a ministry, and build real relationships. When you're part of the inner workings of the community, you get a much better sense of its true health and the heart of its leadership. Ultimately, identifying a true shepherd comes down to seeing the fruit of their ministry in the lives of the people. Are people growing in their love for God and for one another? Is the community becoming a place of healing, grace, and truth? Are people being equipped and sent out to serve the world? A true shepherd's legacy is a healthy, thriving flock that continues to grow and multiply long after they are gone. A hired hand leaves behind a void, a fan club, or a business that collapses once the CEO leaves. This is a deep topic, and we've only scratched the surface. But I hope this gives you a helpful framework for thinking about it. The goal is not to create division or suspicion, but to encourage all of us, leaders and lay people alike, to pursue authenticity and to build communities that are truly life-giving. What are your thoughts? What other signs do you look for in a spiritual leader? Share your insights in the comments below. I'd love to continue this conversation with you. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content like this. Until next time, take care and God bless.